After many speculations, Travolta breaks silence. John Travolta, a superb actor, is one of the greatest movie stars ever. Despite his brilliance, the public scrutinizes him. Fame makes him more vulnerable to inquisitive eyes. We'll cover the renowned actor's life, from his Scientology affiliation to his love life. Despite having one of Hollywood's most known lifestyles, he has lately spoken up about his career's less covered parts. Lone Wolf. Before becoming famous, John Travolta spent much of his life alone. He didn't like women either. He focused on acting. He studied dance, singing, and acting. In an interview, Travolta says he played basketball, football, and took acting courses. His nighttime acting sessions surprised his peers. His eventual success was due to his enthusiasm for acting. It also made him stand out negatively in high school. He spent several days alone. Academics wasn't his strong suit. John Travolta never studied because he wanted to be an actor. In several of his jobs, he was one of the cool kids who weren't academics. He portrayed similar parts in Grease and Welcome Back, Kotter. Schoolwork was less essential to John than performing. At school, he could charm his way out of trouble. He was good at talking to his instructors and having them treat him like an adult. Rise to fame. John's dream of being an actor has been with him since he was a child. He even dropped out of high school to devote all his time and energy to becoming a celebrity. He earned his first professional acting job as an actor for Grease, the musical, in New York. In some respects, Broadway was his first taste of the life he desired. The next project he worked on was a smash program called Over Here. In these small but successful shows, he developed the skills and portfolio necessary to make it big in Hollywood later on. When he felt he had absorbed everything he could from New York's acting scene, he decided to pack his belongings and travel to Hollywood, the entertainment capital of the world. The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. In 1976, John Travolta made it big with The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. It was a made-for-television film in which he portrayed Tom, the titular protagonist character who had a damaged immune system and so lived in a plastic bubble to protect himself from diseases. However, Tom feels compelled to try new things and believes the bubble prevents him from doing so. Tom eventually meets Gina, the girl next door, and falls in love with her. When he discovers that he's gaining immunity, his love for Gina motivates him to venture outside his bubble. There were already traces of a real-life romance on the site throughout the shooting. It wasn't, however, between Travolta and the actress who played Gina. It was between Travolta and the actress who played his mother, Diana Hyland. Romance before Kelly. Diana Hyland and John Travolta were the personification of pure love in their unconventional romance. The 18-year age difference was no match for the strong connection they had, proving the adage that love conquers all is true. But as we all know, it didn't last. Hyland had the dreaded breast cancer and died shortly after. Travolta stood at her side throughout the battle with the sickness, and she died in the embrace of her young love. That year, she received a posthumous Emmy, which he accepted on her behalf. Sings well, too. Travolta's early career was concentrated on his dancing and acting, which was founded on Grease. As a triple threat, he could have gone the Olivia Newton-John route as well. He might have easily established a career as a singer if the movie industry had failed him, but Travolta's tenacity kept him in the business. He did, however, enter a horse in the event. He released a song called Let Her In when he was 22 years old. It made the American listening public swoon, and Travolta landed at number 10 on the Billboard charts. Dancing King. Travolta stunned his admirers in 1977 when he demonstrated his elegance on the dance floor in the popular film Saturday Night Fever. He had inherent talents as a performer, but he had to train hard to perfect his dancing techniques in order to play the movie's elegant and seductive master of dance. He diligently trained at a dance school for a total of 9 months. Soul Train had a big effect on him at the time. He once said, "I prefer black dancing to white dancing." He also said that he consciously tried to include aspects of Soul Train into the overall atmosphere of Saturday Night Fever. Struggles behind the scenes. John Travolta was a well-known actor. Between shooting Saturday Night Fever and Grease, he hadn't had a week's rest. Both films were huge successes and box office smashes in 1978. Travolta's gear was not just physically demanding. That same year, he lost his then-girlfriend, Diana Hyland. His job appeared to overwhelm him so that he wouldn't have to worry about his pain. Randall Kleiser, the director of Grease, claims Travolta wasn't in the correct frame of mind during production and was fumbling his lines. One memorable statement was when he intended to say heat lap trials, but instead said heap lap trials. Travolta, on the other hand, was a professional who plowed through the remainder of the film with pure tenacity. A stint at Welcome Back, Kotter. Travolta became an even more bankable celebrity once the Grease press tour concluded. He soon rode the tide of his newfound celebrity by starring in the hit ABC comedy Welcome Back, Kotter. Travolta's part as Vinnie Barbarino on the program was a bad boy image that he performed well. During this time, he was emerging as one of Hollywood's leading heartthrobs. The comedy helped Travolta's popularity even more since he was on screens for so much of the time. People began to realize that there was a certain comfort with which Travolta played Vinnie, as if he didn't have to act. Short break from showbiz. The sheer amount of films he was producing at the time nearly guaranteed that at least one of them would bomb. That one possibly arrived in the shape of the 1980 film Urban Cowboy. Following that, Travolta experienced a bit of a slump, with a few films receiving poor reviews and even worse box office performances. Despite the fact that he was at the peak of his fame and the films were expected to be surefire hits, Travolta's career had stalled as a result of a succession of poor luck and stupid choices, and he took a break from acting. However, this wasn't the end of his career. He'd make excellent judgments again by starring in big hits. Flying high. In case you didn't know, Travolta is a flying enthusiast and an experienced pilot who earned his pilot's license at the age of 22 and can fly a jet as large as a Boeing 747. But the accomplished actor doesn't just fly on borrowed wings, he has his own personal plane, and it's even crazier than you think. The Qantas Boeing 707 business jet is dubbed Jet Clipper Ella after Travolta's daughters. And it has everything one might want when flying, including 2 bedrooms and a full-size bathroom and shower. There will be no flying coach for John. Missed opportunities. However, one of those roles was a squandered opportunity. In 1984, for example, he was considered for the main part in Splash, a film that would have put him with Daryl Hannah, but he turned the role down, which eventually went to Tom Hanks. The rejection came from his agent, who told him that the part wasn't suited for him at the moment. However, they would both later realize that they had made a mistake, as the film became a career maker and one of the year's biggest box office successes. Imagine what Travolta might have been if he'd been a part of it. Modeling stint. Travolta was approached by various firms to assist in promoting their image as his fame rose in the industry. This allowed him to become a type of model, and he's the first male to ever adorn the pages of the iconic McCall's magazine. For starters, he wasn't a model by trade. This was an audacious move on the part of the publication. However, the fact that all of the previous covers featured women was a revolutionary act. In some way, Travolta paved the way for other celebrities to be featured on magazine covers, a trend that's still common today, and Travolta's to blame. Dancing with the Princess of Wales. Travolta's fame continued to rise. It even got him a dance with Princess Diana at a White House function in 1995. The event was hosted by then-President Ronald Reagan. It was most likely a memorable experience for both of them. For Diana, it was a memory of dancing with the biggest movie star of the era, and for Travolta, it was a memory of dancing with one of the most charismatic monarchs of all time. According to reports, Nancy Reagan said that Diana told her she wanted to dance with a renowned actor. So when Travolta had the opportunity, he asked her to dance. She gladly accepted. Travolta reflects warmly on the occasion. In an interview, he said that they went off for 15 minutes of dancing. I feel very privileged to have been a part of it. Diana's attire that night became known as the Travolta attire. Love of his life. There was an apparent connection between John Travolta and Kelly Preston when they met on the set of The Experts in 1989. Love seemed unavoidable between the two, but there was a huge barrier between them. Kelly was still married at the time. They didn't see each other for 3 years after The Experts ended. By that point, they had decided to act on their feelings for each other. Pieces for Kelly's divorce process were swiftly put in place, and the two became engaged shortly after the divorce was completed. A New York City wedding seemed like the obvious decision for the famous couple's nuptials at first, but when things got out of hand, as they typically do when movie stars marry, they chose to elope. They married in a quiet ceremony in the lovely city of Paris in 1991, when Kelly was already pregnant with the couple's first child, Jet.